I'm very pleased to welcome into the studio Emma Goss-Custard, and she is from the Sherborne-based company Honeybuns. Hello, Emma.
Hello, Charlie.
Listen, it doesn't matter. We're trying to source some of your cakes because you've come from another meeting. You've come from town, haven't you? So it's all sort of, gone horribly wrong this morning.
Gone a little bit pear-shaped.
It's gone a bit pear-shaped, and we all have days like that. But listen, I read about you in a magazine, and I said to my producer, I have to have this woman on. She's called Emma Goss-Custard. It's amazing. Is it your married name?
It is, yeah. My husband, his family, they joined the names up 3 or 4 generations ago.
Right, so there was a Goss and there was a Custard.
Exactly so, yeah.
Excellent. So when he first said, I'm called, you went, sorry, did you? I think it's the most wonderful name, particularly as you have gone in to sweet making and cake making. And so consequently, you are in the situation of providing us with the most gorgeous of cakes, and it's called Honeybuns. And how long ago did you start?
Started in 1998, and time's flown by.
I bet. And what were you? Were you the sort of person who always knew they wanted to have some sort of business, or was it because you had children growing up? How did it start?
It started really. I always knew that I wanted to do my own thing. That was kind of a dream that I always had. And it's the only proper job really that I've ever done. So when I was a student, I was mucking about in the kitchen.
Were you?
Making cakes, yeah. So it was quite integral to...
Did you know you were probably, if that was one of the ways you were going to go? Because I know when you talk about own businesses, and I've often said, I'm going to be this batty old bag that will run a tea shop, but I'll be bringing your cakes in because I'm a bit rubbish at that, so it would be fine. But I think if you have that idea in the back of your mind, it's often just an idea, isn't it? How do you manage to sort of move from the, I'm okay at this, into actually making it a going concern?
I think it's a really interesting question, and I think like with everything, there's more ways than one to go about it. It's certainly in my case, I didn't really do much thinking about it. I just got stuck in.
Actually, sometimes that's better. Hold your nose and jump, I always say, and think, well, you knew you were good at the cakes and whatever. So when you started 9 years ago, was it sort of literally just providing for the local shop, or did you start big?
No, it was really, really tiny actually. And I was baking cakes in a shared student house. So all my housemates were mucking in and helping. Very often I would just be able to pay them off with a lemon drizzle cake.
Which seems perfectly reasonable as far as I'm concerned, Emma, yes.
It worked very well. And I couldn't drive, so I delivered everything by bicycle, bought an old post office bike, and I just literally did what I could do at the time, which was delivering to cafes and delicatessens, and then it grew gradually as the orders picked up, and so it went.
Do you know, there is this wonderfully sort of, almost the darling buds of May feel about this, isn't there? Which I think that's one of the sort of the reasons people, I'm sure, wanted to, apart from the fact that your product's very good, but they wanted to encourage you because it is what they used to call a cottage industry, didn't they? Somebody at home helping out, in the kitchen and building up their wares sort of thing. So when did it start to be able to make you a good salary, really?
Yeah, that's interesting also, looking back on it. Funnily enough, when I was kind of working on my own and doing everything myself, because the overheads were so small, I was actually making a reasonable, as long as I covered my rent, really, and covered the ingredients and things like that, had a bit of going out money.
Yes.
Life was terribly simple back then, and I was really happy. It got complicated as the business grew. So when your overheads and things increase, actually, in a bizarre kind of a volte-face, your profits sometimes take a bit of a hit.
Go down, yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely go, well, I certainly did with business, go through a bit of a sticky patch where it seems like, crikey, I'm doing all of the right things, but I'm still...
It's not working out.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think that's the time, that particular, hiatus, which sort of goes down like this, that's the time that people say, oh, crikey, actually, this was only a little cottage industry. I was too confident about this, and the dip comes and they go, oh, I must give up and get a real job, if you like.
I think it's very, there is a lovely cuddly side to the business, and it was a lovely organic growth, but there's also a really, really kind of stressy underpinning to it all, which I think is very, very difficult, and I'm so full of admiration for anybody who makes it, because I'm just fully aware now of all of the difficulties
and the pitfalls that you can have.
Yeah.
But underlying that is this knowledge that the product is good, and as long as you can maintain. But what happens also? I mean, are you still producing, or do you have a factory now? Has it moved on to that next stage?
It's moved on. It's moved on in a sense that we have a team now. There's 26 of us all together.
Gosh, that's brilliant, Emma. In 9 years, 26 people you're giving jobs to. That's good.
Well, it's lovely. In bakery terms, though, we're relatively still very, very tiny. We're kind of like the David to the bakery Goliath of this world. And we resist the term factory. We're very, very hands-on and we're very artisan. So our bakery's housed in a beautiful old barn. The surroundings of the whole kind of holistic, gentle way of business is very integral.
So you wouldn't want to grow any more than you are, really?
We're certainly at a sweet spot at the moment, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. We're all very proud of what we're doing. And there is a real danger that if you want to ramp up, you then lose control. The product arguably could lose integrity and that special bit of magic. So we're at an interesting stage right now.
That is a difficult stage as well. 9 years on, you in a push bike, up to 26 people in a lovely place. The next stage probably is taking out a lot of your control and your knowledge of what's happening and your running of the day-to-day business. And yet, in business, do you maintain that, forever, or do you think to go on, or do you start something different? That must be one of the difficult sort of areas when you're in business and it's doing relatively well.
It is. You've got our temptation was always, I think we're quite laid back really as business people.
Well, looking at your website, it looks like it's friendly, it's sort of quite informal, and you all know each other and what's going on.
Yeah, there's a very, I would say, a strong family feel to the whole setup, which is really important to us. And we enjoy working together as a team. We get an awful lot out of that. I think we're at the moment we're looking very much more towards diversifying the range, not necessarily growing in size, but just spreading the eggs in the egg basket a little bit more. That's what we're looking to. So, for example, launching a new product range, going into savouries, focusing on training the team.
So same people, same ethos.
Yes.
Just diversifying products. Brilliant. I'm joined this afternoon by Emma Custard. She's from Honeybuns, and what cakes are here? We've got Congo, we've got chocolate chip cookies and almondes and all sorts of things. We'll talk about those in just a moment, because I'm joined this afternoon in the studio by Emma Custard, and she's from the Sherborne-based company Honeybuns. And we've got Emily on the line from Gosport, and she's got a cake question. Oh, I love that you have a cake question. Hello, Emily.
Hello.
Now, what would you like to ask Emma?
My son is allergic to oranges and raisins, but he's got a very sweet tooth. So I was just wondering, he's only 6, so I was just wondering as an alternative to the traditional Christmas food, really.
Oh, that's a good question. What do you think, Emma?
The first thing that springs, does he like chocolate?
Yeah, definitely.
He does like chocolate. Well, I would. We use a lot at Honeybuns of polenta and ground toasted nuts as a base, which is really, really light. We don't use any wheat flour, so we're coming at it from quite an unusual angle, really. One of the cakes that springs to mind is a hazelnut and polenta sponge, which we then put chocolate chips or chocolate chunks into. And as an alternative to raisins, you could use cranberries, which is a really nice zingy fruit. If you want to get some fruit as well as the chocolate inside, then that might be a good bet.
Does that sound okay, Emily?
Sounds excellent. Never thought of cranberries. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love it when something comes together like that, Emily, don't you? Marvellous. Have a great one. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
That's a really good idea. People often think of things like, raisins automatically, obviously, in a Christmas pudding. If you've got some sort of allergy to that, that's no good at all. But what a great idea. Now, they are sat in front of me, both of my producers, Talia and Victoria, who is standing because she has no longer a broken leg.
So I just want to make the most of the fact that I can stand up.
That you can stand up. So she's just showing off a lot by standing all the time. Talia as well. We have got several bits of different cake, except I seem to be the only one with a cake. Have you got something?
Talia has an array of brownie, Congo bar and almondy in front of her also.
Now, listen to me. I'm going to get you... We should have done blind tasting, shouldn't we? I should have put some sort of thing on you. Shall we go for the almonde first?
Oh, I've had a bit of that already.
Isn't it? I've been nibbling. It's quite sweet and I love it.
It's very sweet, but in a good way.
Now, this, Emma, has got something extra because it's or taken away, if you like. It's gluten free, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Although we have based it on a naturally gluten-free Italian recipe for amaretti. So we're using ground almonds instead of the wheat flour.
That's what it is. And I was trying to think why, and it tastes like, you know, when you go to an Italian restaurant, what are they things called?
They have the little biscuits with the coffee.
Amarettos.
Oh, they do.
That's what it tastes like. Well done, because I couldn't think. Right, I'm going on to a Congo.
Which one's
Da,
that?
da, 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 da. Is that da, da, da? Is it where you kick your legs out, Talia? What's that called?
Oh, that's a Congo.
Oh,
a Conga.
Conga is the dance. Congo is the bar you're about
And also
to
a
eat.
country. Randomly.
But this one, can I give you a strange fact about this biscuit?
Okay. Should I eat it first and then
Eat
tell
it.
me? Okay.
Vicky gets given this when she does one of her triathlon things where she swims on a bicycle and all that sort of thing.
It was a mere run, actually.
I know, but you're always doing something sporty. That's why your legs break.
Yes, pre-broken leg. I couldn't have thought of a better treat, actually. You cross the finishing line and they give you a goodie bag at the end. And usually there's a bit of rubbish in there. Maybe a bottle of water is the only thing I'll use. Had a delve about, found a Congo bar in there. I thought, oh, brilliant, down in one. I've just run off about 10,000 calories. I'll put them all back on again.
One bar. That is gorgeous. That's got nuts as well as some chocolate as well.
Very crumbly.
Very crumbly. And that is gorgeous. And then finally, we're on to a brownie. It's made us go silent. Did you hear that? We just went silent.
Good for radio silence, isn't it? And a full mouth.
I'm miming my scorecard. What am I holding up?
Oh, it's got coffee in it.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I've done well. I've
She's a little
identified a flavour.
overexcited. She doesn't get to eat much. That is beautiful.
Lovely.
One of the sorry, excuse me, I've got a disgusting eating on radios. One of the things about Honeybuns, if you look on the particular website, is that a picture of you at your oven there, Emma?
It is,
with a
yes.
very attractive little net hat on, which is obviously covering all of the health and safety areas. But would you say, all in all, that sort of having your own company has been very fulfilling for you?
Absolutely. I can't imagine doing anything else. And when people ask, what do you do for a living? I can bore them for England. I can't stop talking about it.
But that's lovely, isn't it? And I'm sure that passion comes across in your wares, and the fact that you've got 26 people, regular jobs. There's a really good sense of, you know, sort of keeping things going, isn't there, as well with that? Well, I think you should be very proud of your project. I shall sit here and stuff the rest of this down, but if you would like to see more, you can have a look on the website, which is Honeybuns, which is all one word, .co.uk. But Emma Coscuster, thank you so much for joining me.